Good afternoon, class 5. Welcome to our social studies lesson today. Now, in our previous lesson, we discussed about the traditional form of cultivation called bush fallowing. Today, I have two items that I want us to discuss. Number one, I want us to discuss the second form of traditional farming called shifting cultivation. Then lastly, we shall look at the subsistence crops that were grown in traditional farming. So, let us start with shifting cultivation. How was shifting cultivation done? Now, shifting cultivation was done by clearing and burning off the bushes to make the land ready for planting. Now, during this time, a farmer could cultivate the land for a period of time, and after that, that particular farmer moves to a new piece of land which is fertile. A new piece of land which is fertile, then leaving the one that he or she was working on to regain its fertility. So it means that a farmer maybe works on this piece of land for a period of, let's say, one season. Then after that, the farmer moves to the next piece of land so that he leaves or she leaves this one to start regaining its fertility. Then, during this time, tools like pangas, machetes, and hoes and sticks were used. Those are the tools that were used to do farming during the traditional form of farming called shifting cultivation. Now, this form of traditional farming or traditional cultivation was mostly carried out where the population was sparse, meaning it was done in areas where we had very few people. Remember, in bush fallowing, we said it was carried out in areas that had large pieces of land, but here it is carried out where the population is low. So that is the difference. One, it is being carried out of in areas where there is large parcels of land. Then shifting cultivation is done in areas where there is low population. Let us move to subsistence crops grown in traditional farming. When you talk of subsistence crops, these are crops that are grown for food or for human consumption at home. So they are not grown for sale. They are not grown for sale. They are only grown for food purposes. And the examples of such like crops that were grown are like millet, sorghum, beans, peas, simsim. We also have cassava, yams, maize, bananas, and sweet potatoes. These were the major traditional crops that were grown during the subsistence, during the traditional farming. Now, what tools did they use while they were growing these subsistence crops? Tools like pangas, as I said here, tools like pangas, sticks were used. Now, these subsistence crops, the farmers also grew what we call the traditional vegetable. They also grew what we call traditional vegetables. Now, the examples of vegetables that were grown during traditional farming are like managu, saga, and terere. Saga and terere. These were traditional vegetables that were being used during meals. So they also grow such like vegetables so that they use them at home as food. Thank you, and let us meet in our next lesson, God willing.